Hey, it's Patricia Murphy. It's Thursday. This is Seattle Now. If you're eligible for a COVID vaccine in Washington, odds are you still can't find a way to get one.
It's just not possible to register anywhere. I have filled out so many forms I can't even remember how I got there.
It might be like that for a while until our limited supply catches up with a huge demand for the vaccine. KUOW's Anna Boiko-Weyrauch will explain in a minute. But first, let's get you caught up. A bad day for Boeing yesterday. The company announced a historic loss, $11.9 billion, between the 737 MAX crisis and reduced demand for planes during the pandemic. 2020 was a devastating year for the company. Boeing's CEO, Dave Calhoun, said he doesn't expect the company to reach pre-pandemic production levels until 2023. Medical experts had suspected the virus was more dangerous for pregnant women, and now a new study seems to confirm it. University of Washington found pregnant women are 3.5 times more likely to be hospitalized from COVID-19 compared with their non-pregnant peers. It also found that pregnant women are more likely to die from COVID-19. The study tracked hundreds of pregnant women in Washington state who contracted coronavirus between March and June of 2020. And some say it's the rain that makes winters tough around here. For others, it's the dark. If you're team dark, here's some important news. As of this week, the sun sticks around until after 5 p.m. Tonight's sunset scheduled for 5:05. Even if you're eligible for a COVID vaccine, getting one is near impossible right now. That's because Washington is only getting enough doses each week to cover a small fraction of the people who need one. KUOW's Anna Boiko-Weyrauch is here to tell us what impact the shortage is having on clinics and why things are playing out this way. Hey, Anna.
Hello.
Thank you for taking the time. Okay, let's break this down. Right now, more than 2 million people are eligible to get a vaccine. How many vaccine doses is Washington getting each week?
We're getting around 186,000 doses a week. It varies, though, week to week. And that includes both vaccine types, first doses and second doses. For comparison, the number of people eligible, that's like the size of all of King County. The number of doses we're getting is about the size of Bellevue and Puyallup put together. So Not enough for everybody. And if you've been frustrated or confused about this vaccine rollout and unable to get an appointment, this is the crux of it, really, right here.
Okay. So you went to a vaccine clinic at Seattle University last week, and they had to close because they couldn't get any more vaccine doses. Tell me what that clinic was like, and is that kind of supply chain issue common right now?
Yeah. So, I just laid out a whole bunch of numbers here, and we talk about these numbers as like not enough, not enough, not enough. But it's really impressive to see real people in real lines, and real doses going into arms, because this is a lot of people. Just try and hold in your head for a moment a vision of a few thousand people, right? Like that's the daily throughput. They're the goal for a daily throughput at one of these sites.
Yeah, so it must be extremely frustrating then for a clinic to have to shut down because they are short supply or they're not getting vaccine doses.
Yeah, it's a really sort of precarious position that they're in every week. And this is a common problem, it's tricky for the clinic to prepare. So imagine you put in an order over the weekend. You have to wait a week to figure out if your order is going to be filled. And then that next weekend, you log into the system and you see, are you going to get the doses or you're not going to get the doses? And Monday, Tuesday is when, you can give out the doses. That's not a lot of lead time. And that's what I heard from Sarah Smith this week. She coordinates COVID vaccinations with the Seattle Fire Department, which is focusing on underserved and vulnerable people in the area.
We're actually planning on doing some larger scale caregiver events this weekend. It hasn't been confirmed yet, so still waiting to see. And that's the interesting thing about this, is because we don't know how much vaccine we're going to get. We're living in the world of week by week for our decisions. I know you've probably heard about all the community frustrations with being able to get vaccine, and we really don't want to promise that we can give vaccine to anyone and then have to pull it back. I mean, that would be pretty heart-wrenching to feel like you could do that for your community and not be able to. So we're really being strategic to not over-promise until we know we have the vaccine available.
What a difficult position for clinics to be in, wanting to serve, wanting to do this vaccine distribution, and just not really being in a position to say, we can do it. Open up the doors, let people come in. What are you hearing from people who are eligible and trying to find vaccine about their experience right now?
Oh, it is terrible. I mean, I had a senior citizen drop an F-bomb at me over email last week.
Oh, man.
That's never happened to me before. Another woman was in tears on the phone. You know, I've been getting sort of a photo essay from this couple documenting their odyssey, and it's an odyssey. So, you know, they looked online first, and then they went to a walk-up clinic in Federal Way. Walk-up clinic ran out of doses, and they were really uncomfortable standing in this line with a bunch of other vulnerable people. So then they found an appointment at a Pierce County mass vaccination site. The day of the appointment, they showed up, and then they waited for 2 hours after their appointment time and finally got vaccinated. You know, it's the same thing over and over again. And this is for people who are tech savvy, who speak English as their first language, and have some, you know, availability to get information about where doses might be available. One woman I've been talking to her name's Marilyn Perlis. She's 79. She lives in Seattle, and she also described her endeavors to me.
Every single site has no appointments available.
How many sites have you tried?
Oh, my God, I don't know, 10, 12. My daughter tried Lakewood. For God, I don't even know where Lakewood is. There are just no appointments available. I guess you would have to do this every single minute of every day to get an appointment. I don't know what else to do.
That sounds so incredibly frustrating, Anna. And of course, the reality is some people will not get a vaccine, even though they're eligible. Maybe they don't have access to technology, or maybe they just don't have the fortitude right now to get through the system. How are leaders trying to address inequities here in vaccine distribution that way?
Yeah, that's a big issue. It's a scramble right now, and it's a sort of a survival of the tech savviest and the most chutzpahdik, you know, if you just show up at a site and see if somebody will actually vaccinate you, maybe even if you weren't eligible. At the same time, you do also see other efforts coming into place to try and fill in these gaps. And so the Seattle Fire Department, for example, is one such effort. And they are going to supportive housing. I went to a Seattle Housing Authority apartment building, and these are folks who don't speak English as a first language or are not tech savvy or don't have the transportation, you know, to drive themselves somewhere. The city is trying to fill in this gap so that all you have to do is go down to the lobby of your apartment building and get vaccinated. You know, you don't have to try and navigate this labyrinth on your own.
Yeah. Okay, we just got a new administration, and we did just find out that Washington's vaccine allotment is going up just a touch, 16%. What changes might we see from the Biden administration over the next few months?
I think a big one is more transparency. The Biden administration has said that they're going to provide states a look 3 weeks ahead instead of a week ahead, which is something that Washington has been asking for, too. That would help them give providers a longer look ahead, and then that would allow providers to plan for and schedule people out further instead of just a week-by-week sort of last-minute thing.
What are you paying attention to right now, Anna?
Well, the biggest thing is the equity issues and the gaps, because we're talking about the 1B folks, you know, folks 50 or older if you're in a multi-generational household, and 65 or older. So we're talking about the newly eligible groups, but there are still folks who should have been vaccinated first, and they're going to be vaccinated not first. They're going to be vaccinated farther down the line, months out from when their vaccinations were supposed to start. And those are some of the most vulnerable, frail, older adults and people with disabilities.
Why is that happening, do you know?
It's a complicated answer.
I get it.
Like everything in this vaccine rollout, it is a complicated answer, but it has to do with some combination of bureaucracy and eligibility and confusion and communication and logistics.
It's a trifecta. Plus.
Yeah.
KUOW reporter Anna Boiko-Weyrauch, thank you very much. Appreciate your expertise here.
Thank you so much.
Seattle Now is produced by Clare McGrane, Caroline Chamberlain Gomez, and Jason Pagano. Matt Jorgensen does our music. I'm Patricia Murphy. See you tomorrow.